Jen from Fabulous Paper Emporium. I'm here today with episode 2 for our Beyond the Card kind of series. And today I am doing a creative way of giving, if you're doing a little stocking stuffer, you could certainly do this has tea bags in it, so it's a tea bag holder. And this one, because not everybody drinks tea, obviously, I had used some hot apple cider packets, but certainly it would fit hot chocolate if you wanted to, so you could certainly do that as well. I used something a little bit plain because this is kind of my template, so I started with this and had to redo the sizes a little bit to fit something a little bit larger. So I think it's kind of a cute way to do it. For this one, I used the Warm and Cozy 6x6 paper pad because it takes a 6x6 paper, so it's perfect. That's this one from Echo Park. And it has, if you didn't have a stamp, the stamp set is from the Warm and Cozy, not this Warm and Cozy, but it's called Warm and Cozy, and it's from Lumberjack Christmas. And so I just thought it fit in so well. It just happened that way. But if you didn't have a stamp set, you could certainly use one of the many, and I will be using that for this, but there are a ton of little journaling cards, sayings, that kind of thing that come in the 6x6 pack, the paper pack. And of course they coordinate. I think I originally was going to use this one, but ultimately have decided on a different paper. But I will be using the Stay Warm and Snuggle Up and Relax. And I will be using that one for my little tea bag holder. And then for the apple cider or hot chocolate holder, I will be using a paper from Simple Stories. And that's this one, the Simply Vintage Rustic Christmas. And for that one, I mean, you could certainly use any one of the stickers that are on the back. They're beautiful. I love this Santa. So stunning. I could have used, obviously, the poinsettia because that's what I am using today. But I also really like the sending warm and cozy wishes this holiday season. So I will be using that one this time. All right, so we're going to get started. We're going to do the tea first, and then I'll show you. It's basically the same steps to make the hot apple cider. Your just measurements are going to be a little bit different. So I'm going to set these aside for right now, and we will start on the tea. So the one thing that you do want to make sure of is your paper cannot be directional, because if it was okay, if it was fine on this side, like let's say you had trees, they would be okay this way, but as soon as you turned it around, the trees would be pointing down. So unless that doesn't bother you, in which case by all means have a ball doing that. So I think the first thing I am going to need to do is just take out my little paper trimmer here. Oops, got some paper still stuck in there. And because it comes in a paper pad, you have a hole here, so the top just needs to be trimmed off. So I'm just going to do that really quickly. Alrighty. And we are set to go. It is handy to have a scoreboard for this one. Not that there's a lot of scoring, it's just different. It's a little, it's not quite your typical scoring. So first we're going to start off by folding this in half on the diagonal. So that we can do relatively easy. Of course, I'm looking for my scoring tool, but I also have this little Cricut thing that works just as well. So while your 6x6 is folded, you're first going to put the fold line on the left-hand side of your scoreboard, and you're going to score at a 1/2 inch. I always find it tricky because my hands are in the way of each other because I want to hold it steady, but you just take your time, and if you have to start in the middle and then go upwards, that's fine. Just make sure that you're traveling along the same line. We're going to flip it over and we're going to score it again. Again, just taking your time. And then what we're going to do is now going to put the fold at the top. And for the tea bag, you are going to do 3 1/4. And then you're going to flip this piece over and you're going to score it at 3 1/4 again. Okay, and so you have a bit of a grid, kind of, for lack of a better word. So that is all we need our scoreboard for right this instant. So I'm going to stick that away. Okay, so I'm going to fold. So here you have, obviously, this is the middle, how we folded it first. I am going to use, these are the fold lines for the 2 3/4 mark. I'm going to grab my bone folder, fold that in. So whatever side, obviously I'm using double-sided paper, but whatever side you are wanting to be on the outside, you are going to put face down when you do this step. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. I should have mentioned it. Bad Jen. So we're going to fold that like that. So you have kind of a little burrito, I guess, that's not folded. I'm a little hungry right now, but that's okay. So then you're going to face it down and you'll see here that I've got the middle crease. That's where we folded it for the first time. And then you're going to have 2 little score marks on either side of that. And that was when we scored it at 1/2 inch. So find that first score line and we're going to fold that over. And you may have a little bit of paper that is wanting to buckle a little bit. Don't worry. It's paper. You can manipulate it. So it should be all fine. So we're going to burnish that. And then we're going to flip it around. We're going to do the same thing. So now at the bottom, I have a little score line here. And I'm going to fold that upwards. I'm going to burnish that. I mean, this is so simple. And like we're just about there. We're just about done. And that was like, you know, a few easy steps. So now you have the option, if you wanted to, you could round the corners if you feel so inclined. I didn't do that on my first one, but I think I did it on the second one. Yeah, so I did it on the apple cider one as my test. And how I did that, well, there's a couple of different ways that you can do it. Obviously, you can just trim it with your scissors if you are feeling brave and can eyeball that way. I'm not so good at that. So I either use this crocodile corner chomper, and you can do a scallop. Here, let me open that. Yikes, that hurt my finger. So I'm just going to show you really quickly. So this basically, I would feed in the corner and then punch. And then it would give me a scallop on one side and a stub on the other. So if I wanted either one of these, I could certainly go that way. The other option that you have is if you happen to have a envelope maker, then you always have this port on the back side of it, and that rounds off the corners. Let me give myself enough space, and that just rounds it off really nicely. So I think I'm going to use that for this one. And then the next step for this little guy is going to be putting a hole through the top so that you can feed through your ribbon or whatever it is that you are going to hold it closed with. And it's like, for a moment there, I thought I was misplaced. Well, I did for a moment misplace my little hole punch. Right, simple. And then whatever you were wanting to use. I used this on my original tea bag holder, so I think I'm going to use the same thing, only I'm not going to do I don't think I'm going to make a bow this time. I think I'm just going to tie a knot and let the ends just kind of hang out. You can make a bow if you wish. Bow making is certainly not my expertise, but if that is what you would prefer, then by all means. So I'm just going to tie a knot though to make sure that that doesn't go anywhere. And then I think I'm just going to cut that off like that. Yeah, I definitely like that more than the bow, but that, again, just me. So we have our little tea bag holder made. I've already pre-stamped if I wanted to use, I had actually thought about using this because I was going to use the same paper, and I felt like that really, you know, went with the theme for this one. But I think, as I said before in the beginning, I found this stay warm, snuggle up and relax. And I really think that's cute. So I'm just going to trim this with my scissors. You could certainly do that with your trimmer. And I'm going to layer that with some cardstock. You don't have to, of course. These are pretty strong in terms of, you know, being able to stand up on their own. They're pretty sturdy. There. So that is so cute. And then I am going to take a little bit of the same cardstock that I used in the background of the my original sentiment that I had out here just moments ago. But I'm going to grab some of this, which normally I would just go looking through my stash, but I don't really know that I have anything. So I'm going to take my glue. I'm going to apply some of my liquid glue to the back. I'm just going to stick that in the corner, leaving myself just a bit of a border. I'm just going to eyeball that for right now. And then take my scissors and do some fussy cutting. Easy to do some fussy cutting, like if it's this size, with straight lines. Really easy to do that fussy cutting. Oops, I think I'm separating that a little bit. With larger scissors. If you have shorter scissors, then it takes a little bit of precision work. But I think I'm really happy with that. I'm just going to stick that right on there. I'm going to use some of my foam pieces. And then the first one is done. Making sure that I put those on the bottom, because if I stick them on the top, they will be stuck to the back and I won't be able to put my tea there, and thus it becomes a not tea holder. So, and there we have it. How cute is that? And you just slide in your tea bags on either side. It's a really cute little takeaway if you were having a little get together for the holidays. Yeah, so we have our two little tea bag holders, and really without a lot of muss or fuss. Those are really simple, very quick to do. So we're going to set these, I'm going to set these aside for right now, and I'm going to grab my paper. This is the 8x8 sheet of paper that I took from the Simple Stories collection. And I'm going to break out my scoreboard again. I'm just going to set some of this stuff aside. I feel like my desk is getting messy. So, perfect. Move that over. And we're going to do this. Oh, that's beautiful too. And I think originally I had wanted or intended to make it with this side, but I really like the poinsettias. So, and the poinsettias aren't really directional. I know they have some of these other flowers, but like either way, it seems to really work. So I'm not too worried about that. So we're going to follow the same instructions, and we're going to fold this in half on the diagonal to begin with. Just going to get this out so I can fold that. And then our scoreboard steps in. And I'm going to put this on the scoreboard. Again, the fold is on the left-hand side of the scoreboard. And we go to the 1/2 inch. And I'm just going to take my time here, making sure I don't skip. There we go. We're going to flip that over, and we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. Perfect. And again, moving the fold to the top part this time, we are going to score at 3 3/4 inches. And this way it'll give us a big enough pocket to fit the apple cider or hot chocolate. So I did it on one side, I flipped it over, and I'm going to do 3 3/4 inches again. All right. So we're done with you. And you definitely can't see this now. The pattern here is just too distracting. But we can see that this is where we folded it in half originally. So we're going to fold it this way. And get out my trusty bone folder. Now you may have to trim a little bit in order to get this side folded. So I just, it really doesn't have to be a lot, just a little snip. And that way it's not going to get in the way of this fold. And it doesn't look like I'm going to have any hanging over. But if you did have a little bit hanging over, then you could certainly cut that off, but you shouldn't. And then we're going to do the same thing. So again, this was our middle fold. We have 2 score lines on either side. So the one at the very bottom is what I'm folding right now. Okay, then we have our center fold, and then we have another fold line on the other side. And I'm going to fold that like so. Really have to kind of maneuver that. And then we have our second piece. The double-sided paper really is fantastic for this, because not only do you have a beautiful design on the outside, but you also have a beautiful design on the inside as well. So I am going to grab my envelope board thingy. I'm going to round off those corners. Brush away the excess. Okay, lining those up. Grab our hole punch. Certainly, if you had a decorative hole punch, that would work too. Just then I was thinking, oh, but I do have a decorative hole punch. Too late. Like if you had if it was snowflake paper, if you had a snowflake hole punch, would be really super cute there. If you had one with like Santa, maybe a star, something along those lines. And I'm just going to use this black ribbon to go through. It does not want to go through. I'm going to cut that on an angle and make sure that we have a thin piece to get us started. Oh my goodness. And now I can't seem, Mrs. Steady Hands over here can't get it through. Again, I don't know why I didn't become a surgeon. Jeez. Okay, just trim that off. Oh, that was, it trimmed a lot. A lot of extra here. I'm going to do the same thing as I did before, which is just tie a simple knot. As soon as I can get my hands to work. Tie a simple knot, and then I'm just going to trim some of this excess off as it folds over. And then the next step would be to apply my sentiment. And I had already pre-cut So I had stamped the Sending Warm and Cozy Wishes this holiday season. I've used that a few times. It just is so apropos. And that again is from the Warm and Cozy stamp set that is from the holiday, the Lumberjack Christmas. So this is the stamps. Obviously I've used a few in some other projects, and there's the Sending Warm and Cozy Wishes this holiday season. And so I'm just again going to put that on some foam squares. I still really need to get some of those larger ones, the smaller ones, but I have so many of the smaller ones. I feel like I need to use some of those up because I tend to use the larger ones for most of my projects as opposed to the small ones. So, because I have these itty bitty ones that are not quite as puffy. So I use those for a lot of the smaller projects, and here we go. So you could put it in the middle, you could put it off to the side. I feel like if I put it off to the side, then, you know, making sure it's precisely in the middle is not going to be an issue. So there you have it. I'm going to grab my apple cider packets, throw them in here. Helps that the apple cider is in this beautiful red packaging, so it goes with the theme of holiday giving. And these are our two little holders that we have. So we've got one for tea and one for hot chocolate, apple cider, whatever you wish. And that is it. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Hopefully you found it helpful. If you have, please give me a big old thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you again. Hope you have a great day. Stay safe, stay well. Bye.